Yo, welcome back to the channel and another Oakley review. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christian Warwick. I am here on this channel talking a lot about running my own marathon journey and also doing some reviews, specifically Oakley reviews. I've been collecting Oakleys for a very long time, for more than 20 years, and I'm a huge fan. And with that, I also obviously have a big collection. And today we're going through 10 of the best Oakley sports sunglasses you can get today, and a few bonus sunglasses just to add to it. Since the 2024 review was so popular, I thought I'd give you a 2025 version as well. And before we start, I just want to clarify a couple of things. There are more Oakley sports sunglasses out there. I have just chosen to do a review on the ones that I like the most, the ones that I've chosen to go with. For instance, the Oakley Corridor that I made a review on a couple of years back is not a part of this because it just didn't make the list of the top 10 sports sunglasses. Just like last time, I'm gonna wait with number 1 until the end, and we're starting with number 10, the Oakley Latch Panel. These are a pair of sunglasses that I actually got from Oakley when I was working with them this winter. They're pretty cool, pretty nice. You're able to take this little side piece here off if you want it to be a lighter version. I personally, I like them. I think they're okay, but they're definitely not the sunglasses that I would go for when I'm going for my runs. I might use them every now and then just to have more variation in what I'm wearing, but they are a little bit too big, not as comfy as some of the other ones. It's lacking some rubber here. So if you just want to have this kind of style, cool. It does remind me a little bit more about some semi goggles, I guess. And yeah, the design is not something that I love, not something I hate. It made it to the list, but it's still number 10. Number 9 is actually a model that looks a little bit like the Latch Panel, and that is the Oakley Wind Jacket 2.0. These ones I first started wearing back in, when was it, 2016-17. They're almost goggles, but not quite. And I think that if you're out on a bike ride and you just want more protection, they can work well. I think that this design is pretty cool, and they're surprisingly comfortable on. I remember being very surprised when I first got them that they felt more like sports sunglasses than goggles. But again, if you are a fan of having rubber on this part of the sunglasses, these don't have that. But I do feel like there's more comfort around the nose. The nose piece fits and feels a little bit better than on the Latch Panel. So these are definitely some sunglasses that I recommend, but maybe not as the one pair you're getting if you're only getting one. The Oakley Kato made it higher up last time, I think. They're very comfortable sunglasses still. They have the rubber piece here, so it won't be as hard on your ears. And yes, they do feel good on, and it's very comfortable. I personally just feel like they're too alien looking, and I had a friend over the other day and he was telling me that these will probably only work with a helmet or on the bike. Not sure if I agree 100%, but yes, they are a bit more spaced out, a bit more crazy. I think that you have to really be into the sports sunglasses look and be very influenced by the Tour de France cyclist if you want to go for these. But again, just like last time, they're very comfortable on. You can barely feel like they're on, but if you go out for a run or if you go out on your bike, just know that, or I guess you already know by just looking at them that they are a bit, some people would say it's a bit too much. And that is the reason why they're number 7 this year. Number 6 might be the most popular model on the market these days amongst runners, and that is the Oakley Eye Jacket. The Oakley eye jacket, it has definitely done a comeback, very retro, kind of a vintage look to them. And although they have been super popular for years, since the 90s at least, this kind of look, it's made a proper comeback. And I think that if you're following a lot of runners, especially influencers who are runners, you will see these sunglasses quite a lot. Personally, I've owned them now for 2 or 3 months, and I still can't figure out if I love them or if I hate them. My first impression when I put them on was that they were more comfortable than it actually looked like they would be. I thought that they wouldn't feel very good on. I was worried that when I was sweating that it would just drip on the lenses, and that was something that I thought would not really fit very well with running. I've seen people wearing them for marathons, and I just couldn't understand how that was possible. I wore them for races, for workouts, and they work very well. But I do feel like the reason why I'm keeping them is not that they're more comfortable than other sports sunglasses, it's just that it's a very different look, and I like that style every now and then. That being said, I do feel like when I'm wearing these, that it's kind of like a statement. When I was racing with them a few months back, the speaker was actually commenting on my sunglasses. So just know that it's quite a statement, quite a, I don't know, it's, people will look at you differently wearing these. If you're okay with that, go for it. But in terms of how comfortable they are, there are definitely more comfortable sunglasses out there, but we can't deny that they're pretty cool. Number 6 on the list is the Oakley Hydra. The Hydra has been one of my favorites for a very long time, especially for not necessarily activities, but more like walking around when I'm wearing some kind of sporty outfit, but I'm not actually working out, and when I'm not wearing something very formal. So I really like how they feel, what they look like, and I can definitely use them for some of my runs. What I have noticed when I'm wearing them for a longer time is that it starts to kind of, I can feel them on the top of my ear here, and that is also something that some people commented on the last video, that it is missing this rubber piece, and that makes them a bit less comfortable. I do think that if you added a rubber piece on these, you would take something away from this style, so I'm not sure if I would want that on them, but these are definitely a pair that would be really hard for me to give up. But if I had to like have just one pair for sports, it would not be these. We're gonna get back to what sunglasses that would be, but I love these, wear them mostly for casual stuff, not so much for my sports really. Number 5 is the Oakley Sutro. So last year, I don't think we actually mentioned the normal Sutro with the full frame around it. These sunglasses are very good, kind of like the Lite that we're gonna talk more about later, and that was very high up on the list last year. But there's something about the Sutro that just feels very good. I like the retro style of these. I also like how well they fit. And with these ones, I honestly don't feel like they're missing that rubber piece. I don't know why that is, but they just feel very good. They're resting very nicely on my nose. The reason why these are not as high up as the Sutro Lite is just that I don't necessarily love the full frame. It's cool, it's nice, but it just makes it look a little bit different than with the Lite version. So that's kind of the only reason. I would personally go for the Lite instead of these if you were getting a pair of Sutros. But I mean, we can't, or at least I can't deny that these look good too. Number 4 on our list is a model that it took me a while to start liking. I've owned them for a while, but I just didn't start enjoying them until recently. That is the Oakley Sphaera. They actually call this just the Oakley Sphaera, and then this one the Oakley Sphaera Slash. I fell in love with the Slash model when I was doing a campaign for Oakley a few months back, and personally I think that those lenses looked a bit cooler than the original Sphaera, but now I'm falling in love with this one too. And what I like about the different lenses compared to, say, on the Radar EV was that they usually have the path or the pitch lenses. With these ones, I don't feel like they feel different, it's just that they look a bit different. So I think that the Slash might look a little bit more aggressive, a bit more like the Radar EV path, and this one more like the pitch. But personally, I love how they feel. I think that like when I wore them for a 30K long run this weekend, they felt really good on, didn't feel like they were bothering me at all. They do have this rubber, so I can wear them for a long time. And just like with all Oakley models, you can obviously change the nose pad or nose piece a little bit, or you can change it to a different one and it will feel a little bit different. So Oakley Sphaera, number 4 on the list. Really good sunglasses. Number 3 on our list, and I did not think that these would make it or make such a jump on the list again, and that is the Radar EV. I've fallen in love with them again. I got these ones just because I loved the color combination a few months back, and honestly, starting to wear them again, I realized why I loved them so much before. I think that these are amongst the most popular Oakley models over the last few years, and I can definitely understand why. They feel so good on, they have a rubber all the way here, and it's resting so well and nicely on the nose. Like I have mentioned in a previous review, with these ones, I do feel like I'm struggling a little bit more with the sweat coming down onto the lenses and on, I'll say, a long run or a hop. Oakley! That is Oakley, the dog. Speaking of handling sweat, the Oakley Sutro Lite and Light Sweep, perfect sports sunglasses for any sport or activity. I love how well they fit, the way they look. They kind of have a retro vintage kind of style to them, and I definitely feel like we're getting the best of both worlds here. So if you were to ask me what kind of sports sunglasses should I get, these would definitely be amongst the pair or the models that I would recommend. I love that in comparison, or compared to the normal Sutro model, they do have the rubber here, which makes them a better fit, or it's a better fit, and they will not be uncomfortable at all if you wear them over a longer period of time. I do think that there's a reason why you still see a lot of professional cyclists wearing these, even though there are new models on the market. I also love how you can easily take these apart and just replace them with other colors or different models, just like I have here, and you can combine and make your own custom sunglasses if you have a couple of them. When I was to make this review, I was actually surprised by what model I ended up having on the top of my list. The Oakley Encoder Strike. The Oakley Encoder did not make it this high up on the list last year, and that's still a model that I love, but it just didn't make the top 10. But the Encoder Strike has definitely been a favorite this year. I love the fit. I love that they have some design that is kind of between the too crazy but still looks sporty. I don't feel like an alien wearing them, and I can just wear them forever. So these are definitely this Oakley sports sunglasses that I would recommend for any sport, for anyone who really wants to get up here. If you're not into the super vintage, that is, because obviously these look more modern. They might look a little bit more like a Kato sunglasses, but they still don't look as spacey. So these are, when you put them on, you obviously have here too. You notice that most of the sports sunglasses on the top of the list have this rubber piece around the ears, and they're resting so well on the nose, you can barely feel them when they're on, and same around the ears. It's just like a lightweight model. I'm not sure if they're that much, I don't think they are lighter at all than others, but it's something about the design and something about the fit that just makes them feel better than any of the other sunglasses. So number 1 on the list, the one that I would recommend for you if you were to only get one pair of sports sunglasses, the Oakley Encoder Strike. I did promise you that there would be a bonus to this review, and last year these sunglasses made it to the review, but I thought that this time it's not really fair to put a pair of sunglasses on the list that is not really available for everyone. So these are the Mumbo version, or kind of like, it looks very much like the first generation of the Oakley M frames, and this is a limited edition from a couple of years back. I love these. Obviously, in terms of wearing them for sports, it's not great. We've come a long way since these were made and first sold, but it's really hard to get around the fact that these are super cool. It's definitely, for me as an Oakley fan, it kind of takes me back to those first years of seeing athletes with them. And my dad had these when I grew up, and this is the model that made me fall in love with Oakley in the first place. So if you can get your hands on a pair of these and you're not doing a sport where you're afraid of them falling off and you are okay with them being a bit shorter here, then this is definitely the model to go for. But again, not necessarily sports sunglasses, more like walking your dog or getting that sporty look kind of sports sunglasses. Same color, different model, but from the same collection, the Oakley M frame, Pro M frame. Notice that the Pro does not bend. This is definitely my favorite model of Oakley sunglasses ever. I don't think this will ever be knocked out of that list. And so to those of you who feel like I'm kind of contradicting myself by saying that these are number one, I'm just saying that because these are only available on websites like eBay and etc. You can't really get these at any dealer, I think. So still my favorite sunglasses. They come with a whole lot of different lenses, and I don't think Oakley has ever made a more popular model, to be honest. If you look at the 90s and 2000s, these were almost the only sports sunglasses you would see around, and you don't ever have to worry about the Pro M frame falling off. Then there's the more spaced out version of the Pro M frame, the 1311. I do not like them as much as I like the Pro M frame, but it's the same kind of looking model, a little bit more spaced out with the lenses. And like I said last time, you can easily put these lenses on the Pro M frame, but you cannot put Pro M frame lenses on the 1311. So these are not, they wouldn't beat any of the other models on the list. I think it would have been top 10 sunglasses, but these are also not for sale anymore. So hard to get, and therefore not on the list. I did use these lenses and the yellow Pro M frame for my Boston Marathon this year. Love that, but in terms of comfort, I do think that I could have gone with something else. And honestly, when I look at the photos, I sometimes regret it, because I think that these are, if you want attention, yes, the lenses are different than anything else, but not necessarily coolest. That was the 2025 review of the Oakley sports sunglasses. I hope you enjoyed this and that it helped you making your choice in terms of what sports sunglasses you are to get this year. I thoroughly enjoy making these reviews, and as you can tell, I'm a passionate Oakley fan. I'm a passionate Oakley owner, collector, even have my own display behind me here in my office. Really appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to follow my running journey, please do. There is also a featured documentary about my Boston Marathon on the channel. Until next time, and thanks again for watching.